So you've been talking about carbon tax. Although it's not so clear who is going to pay the tax, obviously for the inaccurate report that you submit and higher the level of emissions, you will be paying higher amount of money to the European Union Commission. But who is going to be actually bearing the cost of the carbon tax and how is it going to be calculated? Is it going to be the importer? Is it going to be the supplier? Or at the end of the day, the consumer who is buying the product?
Well, I mean, see, this is very interesting question. First, let us understand the mechanism of the tax, how the tax work. Then will come who is going to bear that cost. Okay, so when we calculate tax, there are three factors majorly. One is your emission number. We call it as a specific embedded emission.
Yeah.
Multiplied by how much ton you are exporting, multiplied by carbon rate. Okay, so maybe currently carbon rate is around 85-90 euros. And if, for example, you are exporting 1,000 tons in a year, so multiply that with the 1,000 tons and then multiply that with the specific embedded emission values, which would be basically how much more emission that you are doing above the benchmark. Okay, so with that, if you see overall impact would be around 8 to 12%, which is quite high. Specifically, I'm talking about Indian companies which are exporting to Europe. So 8 to 12% is it is going to eat up their entire margins because companies operate around 15-20% of these margins, and if you're paying only 8 to 12% in taxes, it is going to impact your entire bottom line. Okay, and now the second question is who is going to pay?
Yeah.
Okay, so currently the regulation puts the responsibility on the importer. Okay, because they can't get hold of all the exporters across the world. So that's why they are telling the importers in their specific countries that you pay this tax. But importers are naturally not going to pay from their pockets.
Yeah.
Reason being that this tax is for the emissions which are done by maybe like company in India. Okay, so they're just paying on behalf of that company. So that is the general understanding that I see. Of course, there will be a lot of negotiations and who is going to bear that cost. Will it be shared? So that is a part of like party to party discussion. But on high level, if you see logically, it is the company which is doing the emission naturally have to pay the tax for it, so that that company can work in reducing that emission, so that its cost can come down. The tax cost of the emission which it is causing can come down. So this is one angle of it. And now, but still it is going to increase the prices.
Yeah.
And so finally, also the end consumer will have to bear some portion of it somehow. But yeah, I mean, this is how current scenario is that the company which is doing the emission need to pay the tax.
So basically, it's going to inflate the prices for the consumers.
Well, ideally, I mean, that could be the natural thing because somebody has to finally pay for it.